We don't do things because we don't think we can. You know, we have so many people who think we can't that we start to believe that. And so, oh, you're not gonna make it, you shouldn't do that, when the only person that you should trust is yourself and God. So if God said you can do it, you can do it.
Hey everyone, my name is Brittany Ransom and welcome to the Apprentice podcast season 2. Woo!
Well, yay.
So we're super excited to be here with y'all. I am joined by Miss Tiffany Draper. She is a mom, she's an author, and an entrepreneur, and her story is really incredible. And I'm just so excited for you to be here today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh yes,
I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, no, me too. I'm excited to learn from you and just hear everything that you've learned and you've gained from just your journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited for y'all to hear her story, and I am excited as well. Just hear
good.
from your lips. So
Here we go.
Yeah. So I just want to start off with asking like who you are and just what you do, like if you can, like with a nutshell.
A condensed version? Small?
Actually, I like the long version.
You do?
Yeah.
All right.
If you're willing.
Yeah, no, I got time.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Tiffany Draper. I am 40 years old, and I actually went into, I guess, started being an entrepreneur when I was probably, I guess about 10 years ago, right around the time I had my last son, Kingston. He'll be 10 in December. And really kind of one day, I walked by the mirror after I'd had him, and I didn't know who I was, didn't recognize myself, and I was like, whoa, who's this person? And I think at that time, God started giving me just kind of like different things, you know, things were happening, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna write about it, you know. So I started journaling, and from the journal that turned into a blog, and from the blog, it came into me starting a business called Tea with Tiffany. And so Tea with Tiffany essentially was a safe space for women like myself who really didn't have a lot of friends or people to talk to vent to, but they could still kind of glean and grow from other women who may have been going through the same things or similar. And so after that, I started having events, brunches, things of that nature, and I decided that I was going to make it into something bigger. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this cool space. I'm going to call it Tiffany's Tea House.
Yeah.
That ended up not happening. I got the facility, but it ended up being Studio 53 because Studio 53 was on Highway 53 in Harvest at that time. And I was like, you know, I couldn't really think of anything just clever, so I just call it Studio 53. It was a small space, and it was just right for what I needed it for. But then I was like, on top of having my events, I'll just let other people rent it out to have their events.
Yeah.
And about 4 months later, we got shut down because of COVID. I got, you know, kicked out of my lease, which it wasn't a bad thing because we weren't able to operate anyway. So we had to close down. And like 7 months later is when I found this space that we're currently in. We've been here for 3 years almost, and it has been amazing. And from there, God has given me other visions, which kind of birthed the Women's Expo Huntsville. And that's turned into a whole movement. And I never in a million years would have thought that I'd be hosting anything at the biggest facility in Huntsville. Never in my life. So much so that I'm running out of room. And it's hard to believe.
Yeah, good problems, right?
Oh, it's a good problem.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of who I am in a nutshell, what I do. My passion is women. I love to see us women kind of glean and stick together and learn from each other and actually mean it, you know, not feel any malice or jealousy or just to be considerate of each other and the things that we go through. And that actually at a brunch that I had this weekend, we actually talked about that a lot, you know, the trauma that we face as Black women, the trauma that we just face as women, period. Because I think when I talk about being a woman, of course, I'm a Black woman all day and I love my girls. But I also try to be inclusive of other women because there are some people out there who actually want to be a part of the culture and what we got going on. So.
Exactly. Oh, wow. I love that.
Thank you.
And I want to go back a little bit to start with Tea with Tiffany and everything. what was the mindset behind breaking in from me to, I mean, not me, you, I'm just thinking about in your shoes, you just journaling and like blogging and being like, okay, let me start something that benefits the community?
I think that the blogging just wasn't, it began to not be enough. Like, people started reaching out to me, like literally in tears, crying, and you're an inspiration to me. And I'm like, that was never the intent for me to be the inspiration to you. I just wanted to give women a safe space. And I really just wanted us to be able to grow and learn. There are things that I didn't know, things that I still don't know, things that I'm still learning about, and I just want people to be happy with themselves, essentially. But a lot of times, we don't have that safe, open space to go to. Everyone doesn't have access to insurance and a therapist. Everybody doesn't feel comfortable going to talk to someone. Maybe you just need to journal and write it down, or maybe call Tiffany on the phone or inbox her and say, hey, can we talk? But my idea was just so that I could create just a safe space, really. So.
Oh, wow. That's it. So that you came, do you think you essentially became what you needed? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I became what I needed from other people, but it also became draining because I'm the type of person who I'm very empathetic. So I carry a lot of that. So in my events, when people or messages that I receive, I tend to carry them, and they're on me. They're in my mind, they're in my body. I carry the stress of other people's stresses, and it's not good for me because it weighs me down heavy.
How do you go like dispelling that burden if you want to go into it? Sounds like it's a journey on its own.
It is a journey on its own. I've had a lot of people who, I guess, feel some type of way about me because I wasn't, I don't know how to say it. I wasn't who they wanted me to be, as far as they wanted me to be there for them. And they wanted to make me their friend. I really just didn't have the capacity to do so, I didn't have the energy to just be there for everybody. Because after hearing all overloaded information, and I was raped when I was 7, people saying things like that, I myself am also a survivor of domestic violence, sexual assault, rape, and just teenage parenthood, things of that nature. But hearing all of these things, knowing that other women are going through these things, and even as young as 3 years old, when they started going through these things, I carry that. And it's a hard task. A lot of people, I know you've heard the saying, people say, you couldn't walk a day in my shoes. And I'm not saying that people would want to. I'm just saying that I feel like God gave me this task to carry because he knew I could. And he was going to equip me to hear and help someone, even down to the point to where someone will say, I don't have gas to get to work. Okay, where are you? I'm on my way. Well, let me cash app you $50 for the week. Or here's dinner for your children and yourself. Get lunch. Or you're $300 short on your rent for this month. These are things that I'm just doing out of the kindness of my heart because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've overdrafted my account, to put food on the table for myself and my kid, my oldest anyway. It's a lot. It's a heavy, but I didn't have anybody to do that for me, when I was in college or when I was raising my oldest son, who's now, super smart, 3rd year in college at Alabama A&M, and just kind of doing his thing. And I'm very proud to say that he is a product of a single parent, but he's also got to grow up with me and go through all these different transition stages of my life, and we've essentially grown up together. So.
Oh, wow, snap. So, yeah.
It's deep.
There's a lot there. How do you think your journey, and you mentioned God, like how he's like helped you through this time, or like, what has that been like, your spiritual journey, if you don't mind going into
No,
that?
I don't mind. So there was a point in life where I questioned my faith because I couldn't believe that the God that these people were saying existed would let me endure so much heartache, right? So many losses, deaths in my family, the death of friendships, relationships, and things like that, just life transitions and happenings. But my faith, I know that only God could allow me to get through the things that I've been through. Most recently, 5 years ago, when I was on life support in 2018 from respiratory failure. And I was just working, just a worker bee, being everything to everybody else and nothing to myself. And God asked me one day when I was laying on that bed in the hospital on life support, didn't know I was in the world or not, do you love you? I was like, dang, God,
Yeah,
is
like,
that what we're doing?
okay, like.
Just a gut punch.
Literally.
Like, and I'm like, oh no. And he's like, okay, I love you, but I need you to love you too. And so I said, okay. And so that was my pinch of like, you need to wake up and you need to start like living for Tiffany, you know, taking care of you more. You know, it's okay to take care of people, but take care of you, protect you. And so I'm not saying that I've been a believer since 2018 because obviously it's been longer than that, but that's when I was like, God, if you let me get out of here and get off of this, get out of this hospital, I'll do what you asked me to do for the rest of my life. And so ever since then, I've just been moving strategically. Whatever God says, you know, I already know that if he's given me the vision, then he's already paved the way, that he's already provisioned what else is going to happen next. So anything that doesn't work, I know that that was probably not of God, because I get out of myself sometimes like, oh, I'm going to have this. And then 3 people show up and I'm like, maybe I wasn't supposed to have this.
Like, okay, Lord, got it. Like, like you made your point.
That's not what we talked about.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, because we didn't talk about that. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know what kind of relationship other people have with God, but when I talk to God, it's like he's sitting right here on the couch like you, like, homeboy, what are we doing?
Exactly. Yeah, okay, I get you.
So, yeah, my faith is very instrumental in my businesses, my family, my lifehood, everybody. I'm combined. I'm like, it has to be some type of relationship. I'm not just going to walk up to people and put oil on their head and like pray for them. That ain't me.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you know, God is just instrumental in everything that I do. So,
That's awesome.
thanks.
And even like with laying out your vision, and you said God is a big part of that. I guess, what is that like for you with like laying out the vision of like what's next, or like even or how was it this past like 10 years? Like, how has that been?
For me, I just kind of just follow. It's scary. It's scary because it's like walking across a bridge and not being able to see the end. And you're like, am I going to fall if I keep going, or am I going to float? Like, I don't know what's there. And so that's why my faith plays such a major part in just trusting God, knowing that he's not going to lead me down a path where he hasn't already made sure that I'm going to be fine. I just want to make sure that I'm operating out of purpose, you know, and not operating in a place of just selfishness, you know. Like, I always try to remain humble. And some people say, well, you shouldn't try to remain humble. You should just be humble. But I know my therapists have asked me before, like, do I know what fake humble is? And I was like, I've never heard of that. I was like, does that mean I'm fake? And they're like, no. But you also don't talk about the things that you've accomplished, you know, where you are, what you've done. It's okay to be proud of the fact that you're Tiffany Draper and you have made all of these amazing accomplishments. I've tried to belittle who I am to appease other people who may not be where I am. And that's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay that other people are not on the same path or where you are in life. It's okay to be celebrated, right? I always tell people, don't celebrate me. I don't want anybody to celebrate me. And I think that just comes from a place of not wanting to feel better than, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm not better than anybody, but it's okay to celebrate yourself. It's what I'm learning at 40 years old, that it's okay
Hey,
to...
that's better now. Let's say, yeah.
It's okay to have a birthday party. It's okay to send yourself flowers. It's okay to go out to eat. It's okay to get dressed up and put on the pretty dress or lipstick, or just drive across town and, just do things that make you feel good, to make your soul feel warm inside. And that's what I want. I want that peace, stability, love. I didn't get into this business thinking I was just going to be a superstar and just make an influx of money. I literally started this business out of purpose, just purpose.
Yeah.
I just needed a space to host my little events that have now outgrown this space. I actually outgrew this space 6 months after I moved in.
Wow.
And I've been here 3 years because I have just not taken a chance on me completely and went and said, hey, I want to build this building, this 25,000 square foot facility, so that I can house my own events and my own expo here. And, I just haven't done it yet. So it's coming.
Yeah, but say there's still time. I'd say.
There's time. God left me here for a reason, so there's still work to be done.
Yes, exactly. Oh, that's awesome. It even goes back to you saying, like, God saying, like, do you love you? Just being able to hone in on just like where that foundation lies inside yourself. So
I think that people need to know that outside of everybody else, when you go home, you gotta like confront you.
Yeah.
Ooh,
people.
Yeah, it's a real thing when it's just you and you. Every day I wake up, it's me versus me every day. I'm not trying to outdo anybody. I'm trying to outdo the person I was yesterday. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going hard for me, my family. I'm not going hard for. I'm not in any race for anybody.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that Nipsey Hussle is one of my favorite rappers in the whole wide world. May God rest his soul. But I learned so much from that man just listening to his podcast and his interviews. And he was so intelligent, so brilliant. He wanted to really, he grew up, and I guess, I think it was Crenshaw. And it was a really bad area. It was in a gang and all this stuff. But him and his brother Sam, they had, wanted to change the life, growing up poor, not having much. They wanted to change the outcome of their life. He was 33 years old when he was shot and killed, murdered in LA. And I went to visit, the spot where he was shot and killed, because I'm just such a fan, just a super fan. And it bothered me that bad because there are really, really good people out here who are being taken from us. But I don't think people understand that life is fleeting. These moments that we miss out on, children's plays or taking a trip or starting that business, people always push those things off until tomorrow. But what if there's no tomorrow? I always try to live for right now. I never really try to just make these long-term plans because I'm living for right now. I have plans, but I want to be happy right now. You know what I'm saying? So whether or not it happens, I don't want to be that person who stays at a job for 25 years wishing and hoping that they one day promote me and see my worth. I want to see that now, and I needed God to affirm me and not my job. So not a title or a status. So
was that like was that mindset a work in progress? That was just like one day
no, it was a progress because I turned my I think about 4 years ago. What year is it? 2 years ago. I turned in my resignation letter. I gave them a 2-month notice that I was leaving, and then I retracted the statement. And I realized at that time I wasn't ready. I didn't have the mindset, and it was too long, for me to make my mind up and change my mind, right?
Gotcha, yeah.
And so one day I was just sitting at my desk, and I was like, it's time. It's time to go. And so I did.
Yeah.
I did. And but yeah, I'm just happy for my journey. I can't wait to see what happens. I know the venue is coming. It's just a matter of when, the bigger facility. More things. I see travel in my future, taking my events on the road.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so excited. Taking my family with me, taking my mom to a few places to let her see what I do, because she still has no idea
Oh,
exactly what I do. She just knows I have like tea parties and stuff.
Oh,
And
so
she's
you're
like,
doing great, sweetie.
yeah. Whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
keep it up. I keep hearing about you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Mom, you're literally right around the corner from me.
Okay, please.
You should be here. But yeah, my mom, you know, she told me when I had my ribbon cutting back in April for the Chamber of Commerce, she said, I'm just so proud of you for just stepping out. You know, you're so brave. And you know, a lot of times we don't do things because we don't think we can. You know, we have so many people who think we can't that we start to believe that. And say, oh, you're not gonna make it, you shouldn't do that, when the only person that you should trust is yourself and God. So if God said you can do it, you can do it.
Wow, yes, exactly. And it kind of reminded me of, as I'm thinking about, like, I guess the Bible as far as, like, Job and stuff like that, how, like,
Oh my God.
no matter what he went through,
Let me tell you, I lost my car, I lost my job, I lost my relationship, I lost my apartment all in 1 week.
1 week?
1 week.
I was like about to say a month. That's still a lot, but a week is
I have
wild.
literally lost everything. And I didn't think I think I was about 24, 25, maybe younger than that. I had my son. I didn't know how I was gonna make it. I didn't have a car to get to work. I didn't have anything. I just wasn't living right either. I was doing a lot. Out in the streets, partying, just having a great time. You know, I was young. It's a young mom. You know, I just wasn't doing what I needed to do. And, but now, you know, my children have been raised by two different women, you know. I was a different person when I had my first son. And then when I had my second son at 30, 31, I was a completely different person. I was settled. I had a full-time job. I had a career. I had medical insurance, you know.
Yeah.
I had a steady home, a steady place to live, steady income. It was just different, you know. So, yeah.
Lord. That's a lot to come back from, though.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot to come back from because, you know, when you hit rock bottom, you know you're there. And you're like, okay, this has to be rock bottom because I've never felt this bad, this low. And that really was probably one of the turning points for me in my life as far as with my faith, to be able to say, I know I'm not going to do that anymore. So we've tried this, let's try something different.
Yeah.
And ever since I've trusted God and put my faith in him, and you know, and I don't always do that. I want to say that I'm not just one of those holy, devout Christians who attends church every Sunday, who's shouting and all. That's not who I am. Not knocking anybody else. We just haven't found a church home yet where we feel comfortable going and being a part. But we definitely want to. I definitely want nothing more than to bring my talents and work behind the scenes and offer things that I can do for my church family, whoever they are. You know, so. It's coming.
Yeah, let's say it is for sure. Let's see if you put that vision in your heart. Like, that's the Lord only knows. So,
yeah. We're naturally just workers. We serve people. In fact, we're a part of a group, nonprofit group called HAND, Help at No Discrepancy, which was founded by Tahit Spence. He's here in Huntsville. And for the last maybe 12 or 13 years, we have went out every Thanksgiving and fed the less fortunate. We give them clothes. We give them a hot meal. And it's everything you could ever want. It's turkey dressing. It's hot.
Oh, yeah?
It's all hot. It's macaroni and cheese, green beans, collard greens, turnip greens.
That's beautiful.
Greens, beans, potatoes,
Oh,
tomatoes.
please, like that.
You name it.
Yes.
It's everything. And we even give them like cake or a pie and seconds and thirds to go home with to wherever they're going. Because we're not out there filming. We don't tell everybody this is what we're doing. We tell the people who need to know, hey, we're going to be back over here on Saturday. Y'all should be here and tell everybody else, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not something that we never want to go out there and exploit anybody at their low, you know.
Yeah.
Because I could only imagine if Facebook was alive and well when I was out here in my hay doing my thing, girl.
Oh, wait a minute.
Embarrassing.
It's
Is that Tiffany on top of the car?
Please, not top of the car.
I was at Freak Naked. It was me.
It's okay. Yeah, you're right. Listen, the Lord is everything. The Lord had his timing. He was like, okay.
He did. Thank you, Jesus. But yeah. So I'm in a really good place.
Oh, that's really good. It's really good. And I want to ask you about like just your love for women, like how that grew and everything.
I think my love for women grew because I didn't feel that they loved me.
Hmm.
And so God had commissioned me to do something that I didn't want to do.
Oh, wow.
Did not want to do this.
Snap. So.
I didn't sign up for this. Women didn't like me. Well, I don't like you either. You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't the heart that I had and had, and he knows that. So it was just like, he was like, you're going to do this, and you're going to do it with a smile on your face, and you're going to be happy about it. And I was like, but why?
Wait,
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But when I tell you, it has been the most rewarding, fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life because I genuinely love women. And I love every intimate piece about us. You know, we're all different, but we all really pretty much have the same agenda, love each other. Because, see, the things that we go through have to come from somewhere. They stem from somewhere, right? Whether it was from your mom or your dad in your household growing up, maybe something happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes when things don't, I guess, resolve, if there's no resolution, it's because people just kind of swept things under the rug. And after so long, when you sweep these things under the rug, that pile starts to show underneath that rug. And so I'm an advocate for people starting to attack those things as they happen. Don't let things fester. Don't let things get any worse than what they have to be. Just deal with it and figure it out. Therapy is important.
Yeah.
I cry on my therapist's couch. I kick and scream, cuss, do whatever I need to do. And then they look at me and they say, how you feel? I feel great.
Yeah.
Good. That's what we want. But I just believe that women are the heart and soul of this country. I feel that we can do anything. I feel that we've come from a very long way. A lot of stereotypes, you know, that we're faced with. I think that we're expected to do the most and the least amount at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't understand that. I never will. But it is what it is. I'm just going to keep on being the pillar that I am, the visionary that I feel I am. I'm just going to keep helping my community, but I know that I'm supposed to go out further because I feel like, I'm not saying I've outgrown Huntsville because this is my hub, this is where I am, but I'm going to start going other places because I want to meet other people. There's someone else out there who needs to hear this story. There's someone else out here who needs to know that, you know, just start. It doesn't matter where you are, who you feel like you are, what you feel like you've done. I feel like I was the most unworthy. But here I am, and God is like with me every step of the way, like, I got you, just go out there. And one of the things that he told me to do was just tell your story because no one can tell your story better than you.
Right, yeah. You never know who's going to reach someone
That's
who's
right.
in that position.
That's right. And I've seen so many women like Yolanda Adams or people like Oprah Winfrey or other, you know, people, and I've read their stories, and I'm like, dang, looking at them, they look good on paper. You know what I'm saying? But then they're like a filthy mess underneath all the makeup, all the talk shows, all of the actors, you know, the screenplays. But at the end of the day, we're still human, you know, and we're still flawed but worthy.
Yeah. So. Oh, I love that.
Me too.
And even with the we talking about like going like therapy and being able to prioritize mental health. How is it being able to communicate that, knowing like especially specifically with African American women, especially with like the stigma of being in the African American community? Has that been a struggle a little bit, or has it been?
You know, here lately, people, since we have more advocates for for therapy and counseling, we have so many black women. I am attached to at least 20 different black women who are therapists, social workers, or in some type of counseling, you know, in their careers, and they are always advocating for mental health, right? Because we know that it's a thing. I had postpartum, thought it was something that black women didn't get. And I literally when my son was a week old, I wanted to throw him off of a bridge and I wanted to jump with him. A lot of people don't believe that postpartum psychosis is a real thing, but it is. And I see a lot of women being judged because they harm their children, but there are signs that people don't look for or look at, because they just, like I said, women are expected to do the most and the least at the same time. But when no one's paying attention to you and who you really are, then they might say, oh, well, she knew what she was doing, or she was in her right mind, there's nothing wrong with her, or, you know, we're going to put her in jail. But these women are literally screaming for help. Wow. You know, people need help. So I am an advocate for mental health, because I've had my own mental health, you know, situations where I didn't want to live, where I wanted to commit suicide, where I didn't feel worthy to be here because of all the wrong that I've done in my life. But you can come back from anything if you want to. Yes. And I wanted to. I knew that that wasn't going to be the end of my story, because God has given me way too much to do. So I'm like, what better person? I don't want nobody standing over me reading my story. Let me tell my own story. Wow. And the only way I can do that is if I'm above ground and I'm an advocate for Tiffany.
Yes.
So.
Oh, wow. And then, like you said, growing and even to going to other cities and everything, someone needs to hear that. I know for sure and everything.
Yeah. I had a lady, one of my favorite quotes is, you can come back from anything. And she was like, well, not anything.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I'm not going to argue with you. That's perspective, you know. But if you really want to, you can. I'm going to leave it at that. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Snap. And this mindset thing for the most part?
Yeah. Your mind has to be ready and focused to do what needs to be done. Yeah. I think, you know, you need to identify what's wrong, figure out what the root cause of that wrong is, and then tackle it from there. I can't speak for everybody, but that's what I had to do. You know, I had to figure out why was I so angry? Who made me mad? How long has this been going on? Where did this come from? So when you start do the root work of finding out different things about yourself, what makes you tick, what makes you smile, what makes you hop, sing, and want to wake up in the morning and start another day, then those things matter to you. And so you'll do what needs to be done when you realize that there's work that needs to be done. You know, like, hey, I got to start here. Maybe he isn't the problem. Maybe I'm the problem. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe my best friend was right. Maybe it's not her. Maybe it is me. So I think that when we try to, stop pointing the finger at different people and just kind of deal with us. Because like I said earlier, at the end of the day, you've got to go confront that person in the mirror and figure out whether or not, is it you, is it me, like, what's the problem? So.
Okay. What's it been like, I guess, with choosing your circle in a way, just figuring out who pours into you?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
I always say I don't have a circle. And the only reason why I say that is because I'm super inclusive. You know, I've been around people who have circles where it's been hard to penetrate, you know, to get in, you know. And I know we've heard the saying where people say that I build my own table, so you can come, I ain't got to worry about sitting on nobody else's table. Okay, that's coming from a place of hurt too. I feel, you know, kind of like, and it starts from a young age where you are young, maybe kindergarten or even preschool, you know, and you want to play, and they don't want you to play ball with them or get on the swings. And so I think that all of this stuff, this mean girl mentality, I kind of think starts at like a young age. But I'm willing to do everything I can to break that stigma. So I don't say I have a circle, and I know this is going to sound really kind of contradicting, but I do have a core. The same as a circle. I have maybe about 3 people who I consult with and I talk to on a daily basis, and they tell me when I'm wrong and they give me great advice, and we just go from there. And so, but yeah, as far as like just a plethora of friends or a circle, I don't have that, but I do have a core who I feel those 3 people have my best interests, you know. So.
I do want to ask you about, I think I saw like on social media talking about like both the seen and unseen parts of yourself. Do you want to explain that a little bit for us?
That's really hard. because a lot of times, so I'm rolling out something in July or maybe later on this year where we talk about being unseen. I felt unseen in a lot of situations where, whether it be people acknowledging people for their great deeds or accolades or what they've done, you know, and I'm like, dang, you know, I've done all this work, but it's like it's going unnoticed, right? Or it's like the only time people want to be around me is if I have something large or grand going on. Or you're expected to show up as like the person that people see on these photos, you know, these edited, doctored up makeup photos, and you're expected to just walk in a room and be just grand and grandiose. And that is not who I am. So I feel like a lot of times I do feel unseen in that regard, because I really want people to know who I am, you know. Not necessarily what I do, you know, because I know that does help, but I want people to know who I am at the core. I'm a lover. I'm a fighter. I'm very loyal I'm just loyal. Like, I'm a Scorpio, if that makes me, I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to love you hard. And I'm not, I won't say I'm ride or die, because I've had that part of my life before, so I got questions about where we're going. Okay. Not really a ride or die, but wait, what's happening? Why are we doing this?
Yeah,
you know?
like, hold on.
Right. Hey, wait a minute, I got a few questions.
Yeah.
I got you though.
Yeah.
But I just want to be seen outside of my business, you know,
Okay,
outside of professionalism. I just want to, I wear t-shirts and jeans or, you know, sneakers. I don't always get my hair done. I don't always have a good day. I don't always, you know, I'm not always happy. You know, I don't just live in Mayberry. Life is just not great all the time. You know what I mean? I have a life. Things happen. You know, I may not want to talk. I always tell my friends, if you don't hear from me, don't take my absence personal. I'm just going through some things, and I just probably need to relax, you know? And so when I talk about being seen and unseen, those are moving parts of that, because I think we should be accepted as who we are, and being soft, and not let people, and people not take it personal, you know?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
people do.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, unfortunately, yeah.
It's something you're trying to, I guess, practice and maybe help other people practice at the same time?
Yeah, I think so. We talked about that a little bit at the brunch on Saturday, about how we could be softer in certain approaches and do different things, not to make people feel like we don't want to be around them, but we need some space, you know. And so sometimes my phone won't ring because I'll have it on D&D all day. You know, I just probably don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah,
it just means that I just
space.
need some space.
Yeah.
I just need to woosah and get the stuff off of me so that I can be back and be a better version of myself. And people just expect for you to just be all the time instead of just be, you know.
Yeah.
It's two different things. And so it's a respect thing at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
People just need, you know, but what about when I need to just be by myself, you know?
Exactly. Can't be keep pouring yourself out to everybody else and not just take time for yourself.
Spreading myself thin, you know, being everything for everybody else and nothing for myself. I have nothing to give when I get back at home at night because I've just given so much. And so I don't. So, you know, for me, this conversation today is therapeutic. It's helpful because I feel like I just get to be.
Yeah, let's say it. Relax, share your story, be who you
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Just be who I am. I don't have to be all dressed up with a face full of makeup, which I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's always nice and pretty when it's done. But, you know, that's just not who I am. It's just for what I have to do. It's for business, you know. Photos look better when you have makeup, I guess. I'm not sure.
I get you. Yeah. It's what everybody used to sing. So like, come on with the brand.
When people don't see me with makeup on, they're like, are you okay?
Okay.
Is everything all right? Are you going through something? I'm like, oh
please.
my God. Can I just like, just
Exactly.
not be a celebrity for one day? Like, I'm good, so.
Oh, wow. And I'm interested to ask, like, who inspires you? Like, who has inspired you or is inspiring you? If you could name someone or something, really.
I'm inspired by a lot of people, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Most namely, Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
I really like Lauryn Hill a lot, just, reading different things about her. Erykah Badu, of course. I'm a music buff. I love all things art, music. And I'm very diverse in my music selections. So
yeah?
I like everything.
Oh,
It doesn't matter
wow.
what color you are, I'm not really a fan of country, but I listen to everything else. Rock, Nirvana,
Oh, wow.
Creed, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, I'm just...
You don't hear that a lot either. So this is like
I know.
like listening to everything actually. Yeah.
I listen to everything, so my playlist is extensive. And I remember one day we were in Nashville, me and my boyfriend, and we were in this restaurant. I'm not sure what it was, but I was just like singing it word for word. And he was like, "How do you know this?" And I'm like, "I'm not sure."
You know, like don't even explain nothing, but yeah.
I don't know, but it's a really dope song.
Yeah.
Like, you should really get into it. He's like, "I'm good." So I'm just happy for my culture. I'm happy for the friends that I have. I'm just happy to just be at this place, and I'm not, just in a hurry to obviously die or anything like that. But I know that if I don't do anything else, I just feel like I've done everything not everything, I've done a lot though. I still have more to do, but if something were to happen, I just want to be, how people say, what do you want to be remembered for? I want to be remembered for being a lover and caring about people and wanting the best for people. That's just all I want. I just want to see people do well. I just naturally care about people. My mom is that way. Will give you everything off her shoes or clothes. What do you need? You need this? Here you go. Here's $50. Take it to your friend. I know she's having a hard time. And I'm like, can I have $50?
Yeah. Like, what about me? We're related.
I'm your daughter, right?
Yeah.
So, I know that's where I get a lot of my giving from. It's just in me to just give. And I don't look for it back. If it comes back, wonderful.
Yeah.
But if I'm giving with the expectation to receive nothing back in return, that's what I want. I don't want to give like, oh, you got to pay me back in 2 weeks. Now, unless you say that I'm paying you back in 2 weeks, I'm not going to look for it, But if I'm just helping you, I'm just helping you. And you ain't got to tell nobody, don't post it on Facebook. You ain't got to do any of that because I didn't do it for that reason. So, yeah. That's really one of the reasons why I don't really like to give, because people want to post about it, and I don't like that.
Okay.
Because people, oh my God, you're so rich. Can you donate $10,000 today to the foundation? I'm like, girl, I wish I had $10,000.
Okay.
I got $100.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What's that? Here's your
Take 4 zeros off of that.
I
mean, 2 or whatever the number is.
Let's back it up either way.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh wow, I love your heart though for that, for just helping
Thank you.
people. It's really refreshing to see and everything, because I think a lot of the mindset behind the entrepreneurship and everything is about like you, and where you need to get yourself, and how do you look to other people. So this is really nice to be able to hear that your heart for people.
It's hard to be in that space too, because they don't really see you if you're just. It's like your motive has to be something different. Like, it has to be all about you. And when I didn't get in this business, I didn't get in the business to just be known, I got into the business because it was just my heart, It was just, I loved to entertain and talk to people and learn about them and their culture. I didn't really want to be in this business to just be, like I said, somebody that they could be inspired by. I didn't do it for that reason. I still don't. I just want to see people be the best versions of themselves. That's all. Because that's all I tell my children. Just be who you want to be, but be that person unapologetically, whoever that is, whatever that looks like. If you want to be a janitor, be the best janitor. If you want to be a teacher, be the best teacher. If you want to be an actor, be the best actor. But I don't push school on my kids. Like, I really don't think my 9-year-old is going to go to college, and if he does, great. If he doesn't, I just think he's going to be something much more awesome than that. My family, they were not college graduates. My mom didn't finish high school, and really, that's just not our story, like our family we're just not, they just weren't big on education, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of different. So when I told people that I was a doctor, I'm like, oh no, I really was joking.
Okay.
But they really took it serious. I was like, I know, just the white suit coat just made it look more official. And I was like, dang, did they really believe that? How dope is that? Like,
I said, you didn't get me.
it's like, dang, people really believe me. It felt good to know that y'all trusted me, but I also feel like a liar. Like, oh no, well, how do I tell them I'm not? I gotta let them down. So
no, you're good. It was all good. But because let's say you already done so much, we're like, yeah, but it wouldn't put it past if you'd done that. So
clearly,
yeah,
y'all were rooting for me. I was like,
congratulations.
Right.
I do have I guess one last question. And everything. I just want to know what advice you give either someone in your shoes or someone who just was where you were, and wants to grow into themselves or wants to grow to be able to help other people just like the way you've done.
The first thing is just to continue to be yourself. Never stop evolving into the person that you want to be. Be consistent. Operate out of integrity. And when it looks like it's going bad for you, that's probably really going well. Sometimes we're our own biggest and worst critics. And I just want to tell people to just be who you are. I don't plan on changing who I am, for a certain status, I see a lot of people in Hollywood who don't really make it big because people say, oh, they didn't do what the industry told them to do. And I don't blame them, if that means that I got to sell my soul or be something bigger than what I am because I chose to not operate in my sole purpose or who I authentically am, then by all means, take it. I don't want it if I got to be somebody different, right?
Yeah.
So continue to be yourself, continue to evolve, continue to learn. I always tell people this: before you can be a master, you have to be a student. And I've watched people. I have observed people fully and through. I've watched movies. I watch TV. I watch how people are. And I'm real big on mannerisms, and I like to see people just be themselves, especially when they're operating in purpose. And so, but I would say consistency has gotten me to where I am. Just being consistent, consistently loving people, continuing to consistently meet people where they are. Yeah. There's not a person that I don't know who I have not hugged, who I've embraced. Oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. And I genuinely mean it. You know what I mean? Some people will say, I'm happy you're here. And like, oh my God, why are you here? I'm not like that. Girl, I'm happy to see you. You know what I mean? Because honestly, it's really not about them at the end of the day. No one knows what I was going through. Not everybody knows my story. So when I see people and I run into them, I'm happy to see them. I'm genuinely happy to see people because my story could have went something different, I still pinch myself every day like, am I really alive? Am I really doing this? Is this happening? Like, I really have a platform where I can tell my story and people will actually listen and be okay with that. Yeah. And not judge me for that. And even if they do, I can still be okay with that. So yeah, just be you, whatever that looks like. Yeah. And take the people who want to ride the wave with you. And if you want to just do it solo, then do that too. But I've found that you have to have a core or just good people around you. Because this is hard. I've had people to speak up for me, want to fight people for me, because they know that my heart is so big that I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to deal with it, you know. But I put on my big girl panties, and so I show people how to treat me now. I come correct. I don't bite my tongue. And that's one of the things that I had to do because initially I'd be like, oh, well, I don't know, maybe it may be okay, just real timid because I didn't want people to look at me a certain kind of way. And now I'm just like, girl, I'm 40. I'm at the half of my life right now. Like, I may not see 80. I may not see 60. I may not see 50. But if we're watching this 10 years from now and I'm not here, I just want people to know that I did it for all the right reasons. I did it for my people, for my community, for my kids, for my mom who wasn't able to live out her dreams. And so I feel a little bit like my mom is kind of living simultaneously, I guess, through me a little bit, I guess, you know, because I'm able to do some of the things that she wasn't strong enough or brave enough to do. And so, just be yourself authentically.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
Also, I think this is the perfect note to end off on. But I love your story, and I'm inspired already. I know other people are going to be inspired by this, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do next, because I know it's big. I know it's going to be big, but especially if the Lord's already given you a vision, it's going to play out.
It's scary. They say if your dreams don't scare you, then they're not big enough. And my dreams scare me. They scare the shit out of me.
It's like, perfect.
Thanks, that's what I needed to not do this anymore. But, you know, I can't swim. I'm not a swimmer. And it's so weird, but I absolutely love going to LA. That's my free space. I love going to California, and I just kind of zone out and just vibe. California's a whole vibe. I love it there.
I need to get there.
I know.
God. I need to get there.
It's just a whole different world. I love it there. If I could afford to live there, I would, but I am not there where they got like the $5 million homes and mansions. Not yet. Not yet, girl.
Not yet.
It's coming. They call Beyonce and Jay-Z my neighbors. Hey, girl.
Yes, exactly.
Send Blue Ivy over for dinner, you know.
No, exactly.
Girl, but just at my free time, I just, like to travel, meet new people, and learn about different cultures. I like cultural experiences, whether it's Asian or Ethiopian, or I just like to see other people live, you know, because just because something doesn't make sense to us doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense to them. This is their way of living. This is how they grew. This is their life. And so I really like to hone in on like what makes you do this thing or why is this important. And so
that's really cool. I feel like it opens your perspective up to just not just like the American way, which a lot of people do, and they don't see past that.
Right.
You know?
I'm glad you said that, because people don't see past the things that we've learned, you know? And so when you're open to learning more about why people wear certain things, or why they don't wear shoes, or why they wear their hair in braids, or why they won't get a relaxer, or whatever the case may be, it's interesting, because then that may change your perspective. Well, maybe I should do that, or maybe I didn't look at it that way, you know? And so I just like fresh, unique perspectives on other people's lives, and sometimes they're good enough to where I apply them to my life, you know. Meditation, or just in the morning taking the first 30 minutes or the first hour and just having that space and time for yourself to where you can just be, you know. You don't have to be anyone's mom. And so that's why Free to Be Me this year for the Women's Expo was so important, because I have found myself being everything to everybody else but me. So this year I was like, you know what? Free to be me. Really, and God literally gave me that, like, last year. I was like, I don't really know about that. And he was like, we're doing that. And I'm like, dang. Okay, well. It's so long. I got to pay for all these letters and lights. Free to be me. That's how many letters go? Oh, my God. So, but it worked out, you know. It was just, I don't know. But, so I don't know what's happening next year. I ain't got that one yet, but we'll see.
So we'll see, and like it seems like even with the Free to Be Me like concept, like Lord's already like still doing that in your life, like even like you said, through this like the seen and unseen, like Lord's He's already moving. So it's exciting to see and to witness actually. So
thank you. All right, my name is Tiffany Draper, and this is the Apprentice podcast.